Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at Surrealist Dinner Party by Resonim.
In Surrealist Dinner Party, players are going to be playing characters from their hand to the table, trying to fulfill their orders, getting them food, wine, desserts, starting drama, paying compliments to their neighbors. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the table. All right, so I have Surrealist Dinner Party on the table here. And in this game, you are going to be hosting a dinner party for a bunch of surrealist artists. And these people have some pretty unique personalities. This is going to be quite the dinner party. And in this game, players are going to receive a hand of 6 artists, 6 guests that are all going to have different things that they want. So this is an order fulfillment game, and the guests are going to provide different abilities that you're going to be able to play throughout the course of the game, trying to score you the most tokens. And so you can see that there are going to be different colors of tokens that are all in this bag. The bag is just there to kind of hold them all. You don't actually draw from the bag or anything like that. The way this game works, you're going to have this platter, and this is real metal, by the way, in the center of the playing area, and on the platter are going to be a number of items depending on how many players are in the game and what round you're in. So the beginning of the game starts with cocktails, of course, and as you can see, you're going to move throughout the night, getting all the way to desserts. So on your turn, you can do one of 3 actions, and the very first action that all players are going to take is to seat a guest. And I have 3 here, but you would have 6 in your hand at the beginning of the game. And to seat a guest, you just simply place one of your guests in front of you. Now, you can have up to 3 guests sitting out in front of you at any point in the game. You can have one in the middle, you can have one on the left, and one on the right. Now, once you've placed 2, you can split them up and place your third in the middle, or you can place your third on the left or on the right. But once you've got them down, then that's where they are going to be seating at for the rest of the event. And if you'll look, you can see that some of these guests have icons on the far left, and one of them doesn't. That's because your guests are each going to have different abilities that are going to take effect at different parts in the game. If there's not an icon right here, then that is going to be an effect that takes place throughout the course of the game so long as this guest is sitting in front of you. So it's a persistent effect. If you see this plate icon, then that is only going to take place whenever you take this action. So one of the actions you can do on your turn, rather than sitting a guest, is to use all the plate actions of the guests that are in front of you. And so this one in particular says swap one of Margaret's tokens with a token from the kitchen. The kitchen is the bag, the bank, if you will. And so I could swap any one token that happened to be on this card for any token that I would want from here. Now you can only do that once per course. And again, the courses are listed on the menu here. And so you can do that once per each of those courses, so long as this person is in front of you. And then the third and final icon that you're going to see on these cards is the door, and that is when you send a guest home. So when you seat a guest, you can also send a guest home. And you don't have to have everything filled up on the card. You can send them home at any time. Any tokens that would be on the correct spot. So yellow on yellow, purple on purple, and the yellow is compliments, purples are desserts, blue are food, and red are wines or cocktails. And then there's also going to be black for drama. We'll come back to that here in a minute. But any that are on correct spots, you're going to take off the board and put into your stash, which is kind of those are victory points, essentially. Any that weren't on correct ones. So let's say that I happen to have this purple one here on a blue spot. it's going to be turned upside down to indicate that this is not on the right spot. And this can happen over the course of the game through a number of different ways, but essentially other players are going to be trying to sabotage you and make you do this. Any that are on the incorrect spot are simply going to be discarded and go back into the kitchen. So those are missed opportunities for points. And again, you would take the sending a guest home ability whenever you were to send that guest home. So for instance, the kitchen sends a drama to every guest. Oh no! So let's get into that. Drama and compliments. The second thing, that you can do on your turn is that you can send a compliment or drama to your neighbors. And so you would do this with any of your guests that you have sitting in front of you. And you would start drama or send a compliment. So for instance, the doll keeper here could send a compliment to Renee. And you just simply take one of the yellow compliments, place it on the card for who started the compliment and the card that you are giving the compliment to. So just like that. Now, I don't have to send it to Renee. I could send it to whoever is seating on the right next to me, and whatever character they have that's closest to the doll keeper, that's who that compliment might go to. And let's just pretend that it's the radical writer here. You could see they don't have a spot for a compliment, and so this is a way to kind of sabotage them because they will have to place it face down and cover up one of the slots right there, like so. Not good for them, but good for me. Drama works the same way. I could start drama with someone, and anytime you see one of these white question mark spaces, anything can go there. That's kind of a random wild spot. And so I could start drama with Renee and start it with whoever my neighbor is on my left, and they would have to take a drama as well. The last thing that you could do on your turn is you could take something from the platter. And so I might take one of these wine cocktails and put it on any one of my guests in front of me. Now, the current course, or round, if you will, is going to end when all of these tokens are removed from this platter, at which point we will stop the game, fill up the platter with whatever comes out on the next turn, and play will continue. You use this little pipe here to keep track of who is the last player to have played whenever a round ends and who's going to start the next round. And that's pretty much the gist of the game. At the end of the game, you're going to count up all your tokens that are in your stash. Whoever has the most is going to be the winner. And there is a way to spice up the game a little bit. You have a modular component that you can add, which are these faux pas cards. And this is just going to be a way to add bonus points into the mix, as well as in-game goals. You can see here, granted to the first player to collect 4 compliment tokens in their stash. That's one option. Let's show you another one here. The first to collect 4 drama. The first to collect 4 desserts. Here you go. Granted to the player with the most dessert tokens in their stash at the end of the game. And you can see here how many tokens it is worth. And so that's just another goal that you could try to put into the game. And again, whoever has the most is going to be the winner. And that is how you play Surrealist Dinner Party. All right, so here's Sam and I doing a 3-player playthrough of Surrealist Dinner Party, and you can actually check out this video of our playthrough if you want. Click the eye in the top right corner and it'll take you to that video. Right now we're going to share our thoughts on this game, and I'll go first and let you guys know that I really enjoyed Surrealist. I think that it's a nice, unique, and elegant kind of game. With obviously a quirky theme to it, with this surrealism artwork and just the different artists going into it. It's definitely a game that stands out, and the components definitely go along with that silver platter, with the menu, the tokens. I mean, all of it, I think, is just a really cool package. What did you think about it, Sam?
I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning of the game, it took me a little bit to get into it. I felt like at the beginning I felt like it was a little too artsy. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about it. But as the game went on, I really do enjoy the set collecting tile, or the
Order fulfillment.
Order fulfillment. I do like that type of game, and it reminds me of other games we've played in the past, and you do start to get more into it. So it did take me about a round, a little bit of a slow start, but in the end, I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, now I will say that I'll agree with you on that. It is a little bit of a slow start. Everybody has to do the same thing in the first round, seat a guest, and it takes a little bit to just kind of it's not really an engine building game, but it does take a minute to really kind of figure out what's the best thing for me to do here.
Figure out your strategy.
Yeah, figure out your strategy. And the way the game is designed, if you just take off the platter, that speeds the game up, and you can really bring the game to an end abruptly, I guess. And so you might experience that a little bit in the beginning, or you might even experience it throughout your first entire playthrough. That is something to think about, but I don't know. I still very much found a lot to like about this game.
Yeah, I did too. It just took me a little bit. It wasn't something that I liked right off the bat, but I did enjoy by the end of our first playthrough.
Sam, what did you think about the abilities on the artist cards and being able to do the different actions, like take extra things off the platter, or make people have to take things that they might not want, or just
I thought it was good.
Things.
I mean, it kind of helped with your strategy a little bit. It helped you, catch up or bring somebody, back who's ahead of you. So I thought it was a good little thing for the game.
I thought those were where the game really kind of shines. The player ability, or not the player abilities, but the character abilities on those artist cards. I thought that was the big catch to this game, and how you can play them off of one another. There were some combos that kind of went along with one another when you activated one person taking something off the platter and giving a person a dessert. You got to do something else. Like there's just some small combos in there that I thought were pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you really paid attention and used your cards well, then it could really help you do well in the game.
Now, Sam, let me ask you, because take that mechanics generally aren't the best mechanics in games, especially for non-gamers. And this game not necessarily has a take that, but it does have that aspect of you can affect your neighbor. You can make them take a compliment. You can make them take a drama. And that can really kind of mess with a person trying to complete what a guest wants and getting it perfectly satisfied. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I totally understood it being in the game. You have to have something like that. You have to, otherwise it really is just everybody playing more individually than together, not in a cooperative way, but instead of against each other. So you need to have it. It needed to be there, and I understood that. But in a set collecting game, I want my set. I don't want somebody to mess it up.
Yeah. And I think you said it exactly right. I mean, this is not a multiplayer solo solitaire game. This is, it's got some interaction between the players, and that neighbor mechanic I think is interesting. And I will say I don't think it ever really left me with a bad taste in my mouth, because the benefit for getting a perfectly satisfied guest is only 2 tokens.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it's a huge thing in the game.
It's more of an OCD thing for me.
Yeah, definitely true
but
on that.
It didn't happen so frequently that it really became a problem either.
Yeah,
it's there.
I would
it
agree
needs
with
to
that.
be there. It helps the game move along, but it's not obnoxious.
Yeah. And because it comes at a cost, if you're doing that, you have to take the token as well.
Yeah.
And so you got to make sure that your person has a spot to put it to. So, yeah, I think that's they organized that and designed that pretty well. So, Sam, in summarization here, what are some of the things that you liked about Surrealist Dinner Party?
It's very interesting. It's definitely a theme that we've never seen before. And I enjoyed that. It is a relatively quick game, very easy to understand. It may be a slow start, but it is an enjoyable game for sure.
Okay. All right. Very well. What about some of the things that hold you back on this game?
I mean, it is a little bit of an artsy game, you know, with the theme and everything. So if you're somebody that really gets into the themes, that could be, I guess, a turnoff
Mm.
for some.
Hmm.
But overall, there's not a ton on my cons list for this game, I would say.
We did mention that the slow start can be
Yeah,
something.
yeah, definitely a slow start. But again, I mean, maybe playing it a few more times,
Hmm.
it wouldn't feel that same way. It could just be, you know, first time playing, first playthrough issue.
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree with that. As you get more familiar with the game, you do sort of kind
Yeah.
of come to understand that aspect to it. So, now let's talk real quick about player count on this one because I think this is an important game to discuss that. I do think higher player counts are going to be where this game does better. I don't know that a two-player game of this is as good as a three or higher player count.
We did play it with 3 people.
Yeah, in this video that you're watching, yeah. And so I think, you know, higher player counts are going to bring along that neighbor effect more often and allow for more cards to get on the table, which just brings about an altogether and more interesting game, in my opinion.
Which is just something to keep in mind. You know, how many people are you typically playing with? For us,
Right.
it is usually just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
So having a game that plays better with 3 people, you know, is it worth keeping on our shelves or not?
Yeah. And that's something you have to consider with this one. So, all right, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give Surrealist Dinner Party?
I think I'd give it a 6.8.
6.8. Okay. I'm higher than that on this one. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it a 7.4.
Okay.
All right. Well, there you go.
Well, that's our review. Make sure you like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
All right. I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non gamers. We'll catch you next time.